PTI.
Welcome back to The Jump, and welcome her debut on The Jump. Milwaukee Bucks reporter for ESPN, Malika Andrews. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be
Very glad you're here. You've covered this team all season, and I wanted to get your sense about Giannis. Is he ready for this next stage? Because he came into this playoffs being like, I just want to win a series before I talk about where I'm going to go here. Well, now they've won two.
Well, one thing about Giannis is he's absolutely good at being humble, but the something about him is he will never, ever, ever come in unprepared. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon said this to Mark Spears yesterday. One thing is that Giannis, every step of the way, has stepped up his game. You saw that happen after game one, where he was really shut down by the Celtics. He stepped it up for games 2 through 5. And so I think you're going to consistently see that continue to happen for him, especially because his pregame routine is so meticulous, and that for him is just something that he centers himself around. And so if he can keep that together, his nap, getting his icy hot, which he calls his hot sauce, if he can get those things together, he's going to be ready.
If he can watch Keeping Up the Kardashians, like we know that he loves to do, then he can be ready. That is 100% a real thing.
That's a real thing? Oh, yeah, no, he's not right now. I can't get on the board with that.
I mean, Scotty, you guys went through that where you had to play and lose to Detroit before you could then get over the hump. Do you feel like he's had enough of those moments that he's going to be able to move forward to the finals?
I feel like he's had a few. There's never enough, especially when you're a young player as young as he is. But I think he's had enough bumps in the road that he's ready for this challenge. Physically, he's ready. Mentally, I've watched him this series, and he seems to be ready. He's not letting anyone get into his head. He's dealing with the physicality of the game, and he's playing through it, and he's lifting his teammates. So I feel like he's ready to go all the way.
All right, let's talk about Malcolm Brogdon as well. You had an article over the weekend saying he might not start in the Eastern Conference Finals. Give us the latest there.
That's still the case. I mean, they have a full week off here, which has been really helpful for him. But at the same time, one thing we know about Mike Budenholzer is he doesn't like to change things when he doesn't have to.
Right.
He likes Nikola Mirotic in the starting lineup right now. He wants to get Malcolm Brogdon a little bit more time, get him back up to game speed, because really he's only played in one game, and he didn't even play 20 minutes in that game.
He's still young.
Well, yeah. And what you don't want to do in that moment is if you have a rhythm, and it doesn't matter, right? Malcolm has played enough with this team. He has enough of respect of everyone around him that it's all about the last 5 minutes, the last 10 minutes, the crucial moment. So however you want to start to keep that kind of momentum going is probably what's best. And Coach Bud is not changing anything.
All right, Scotty, I got to ask you, once you get past, though, Giannis and Kawhi, which supporting cast between the Raptors and the Bucks do you trust more?
I think I trust the Bucks supporting cast.
Okay.
I just think that Giannis has lifted this team up so much. Chris Middleton, all-star this season, and in Bledsoe, I think his leadership has been tremendous on this team. I think he's probably the one that's responsible for Giannis' growth and development over this season. And I may be wrong, but when I look at Giannis and his confidence and just how he's carrying himself on the basketball court, I see a lot of Bledsoe in him.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. I mean, their bench bomb's pretty fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would add, strangely, two names that I didn't think I would be saying is George Hill and Pat Connaughton to that mix, too. Mm-hmm. When you have your 7th and 8th guys that are stepping up like that, it's really hard to bet against the Bucks, especially when you have Pat Connaughton saying, this isn't our second unit. This is an honor to be a part of this bench mob. Mm-hmm. That's a mentality that I think is a championship mentality that could carry them far.
And I'll give Pat Connaughton credit. In that game 1 against Boston, I was like, ooh, they need Malcolm Brogdon back. And he, like you guys are talking about Giannis, he went back to the drawing board and said, okay, here's how I contribute more. And obviously in Boston, which was fun for him. So I don't know. What do you think about which supporting cast?
Well, no, I like it. I like the Bucks supporting cast because the Bucks supporting cast, they feed off of what Giannis does, right? So this team was built around him. So Giannis, even if he's not finishing well, he can distribute to these guys and they know how to play. Where when you look at Toronto, they don't necessarily feed off Kawhi. They toss it to Kawhi and then watch.
Right.
And Kawhi is that good where you end up watching him a ton. And so, that's the issue when Kyle Lowry was talking about we need to help him more. We need to help him more. That's not said in Milwaukee because they feed off of each other and they play a great system together.
Well, and I mean, it's a top-down thing that it infiltrates the locker room, too. Right. Giannis's work hard, put our head down mentality has kind of spread out to all of these guys. And I think that that's something that you're going to see play out. That's what you saw play out in Boston. Is this culture going to be able to seep through to everybody? And in Milwaukee, it really has.
I mean, there's so many teams, right? where the best guy, that's what Pop always said about Tim Duncan in San Antonio, right? If the best guy's the first one in the gym, everyone's got to be in the gym, that sort of thing. Malika, thank you so much for stopping by. We will see plenty of you in the next round. Coming up, we're going to talk about the team that won't be in the next round, the Sixers. Their season's over, and they got a lot of decisions to make this offseason. Where do they go from here? These guys will lay it out. Up next.
First 3 games, to the ground with Nocioni. The turnover to McDice.
Reported the men who attacked him were upset that he left the Knicks. Scotty, do you have a reaction to that?
Wow, he needs some security, man. That's crazy. You know, it's absurd how fans get, and I'm Knicks fans.
Knicks, Latvian fans, and like if anybody, those guys should fly down and go search for some of the Knick brass.
All I know, I was going to say, if the Knicks fans are upset about the way things have gone for the last 10 years, I'm not sure I'd start with Kristaps Porzingis, but
it's not his fault.
We'll see. Speaking of off-court incidents, Suns forward Josh Jackson was arrested this weekend in Miami. Reportedly at the Rolling Loud Music Festival, he is facing a felony charge of escape and a misdemeanor charge of resisting arrest. According to SlaterScoops.com, Jackson attempted to enter the VIP area too many times without a proper pass. He was reportedly handcuffed by the police, after which he then ran away from the officers.
Fast-breaking Suns still running the floor.
Josh Jackson, as you may remember earlier this year, did not show up at a fan event at a grocery store that the Suns had set up, and James Jones had to buy everyone at the grocery store beer because it had been a promotion with a beer vendor.
No.
Let's get to the Sixers. There had been a lot of speculation about whether Brett Brown is on the hot seat after they lost in the second round for the second straight season. Well, just now, Joel Embiid spoke on that. Take a listen.
I just thought it was bull. Man, he's done a fantastic job. I don't think he should have anything to worry about. He's an amazing coach, a better person, and you know, obviously I got a lot of love for him. And you know, if there was someone to blame, I mean, put it all on me.
So really strong words, RJ, from him saying it's ridiculous. I'm paraphrasing, ridiculous that Brett Brown is facing these rumors of being fired.
Well, that's part of the job. Everyone's going to face that. I think Brett Brown did a good job. You look at it, the shot that it took for Kawhi and Toronto was a great team all year long. So I think that it's a little sad, but you know, he's had a long run there. And so now when people start looking around, should a new voice be brought in is understandable.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's something to really consider and look at. I mean, he's had great talent as he had this season, and you really didn't do a lot with it, to be honest with you. So, but I see that Embiid is giving his praises to him. I think he's a great coach, but they have to do something. They have to get better, whether it's, you know, making a decision between Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris.
Right.
You have to grow, and Ben Simmons has to get better.
Well, that's the thing. So Brett Brown did bring them through the process, which is something I think would try any coach. I have a lot of admiration for that. There are concerns among the Philly fan base about his creativity, his ability to activate Ben Simmons, who obviously has some limits, but you want to expand those limits, I guess. There is a big outcry from the fan base of, hey, we need a new coach, but it's up to management and ownership to have sort of the wisest hand on whether continuity is going to be a good thing there, too.
Yeah, listen, if you listen to the fans, you're going to be sitting with the fans. So what you need to really be doing is just evaluating how much your team has grown and where your team can go. And if he's the right guy, you need to stick with him.
Either way, Ben Simmons, you want him to work on his jumper this summer,
Yeah,
Scotty?
I think that's the whole thing. I think that the future of this franchise really depends on Ben Simmons, what he's going to do this summer.
We will see. Thanks to these guys for joining me today. Jump returns tomorrow. We'll see you then.